Ugandans, my name is Kyagulanyi Sentamu, also known as Bobby Wine. This 12th day of September 2017 is a very sad day in the leadership of our country. Yet again, some of my colleague members of parliament who belong to the NRM party did the most dishonorable and unpatriotic thing. They passed a resolution to remove presidential age limits from the Constitution of Uganda so that President Museveni can become life president. They did this at a time when our nation has been bleeding for the last 31 years. Our country's former glory is all gone. Corruption rates are alarming, service delivery is at its worst, and women are dying while giving birth. Unexplained murders everywhere, and the judiciary is a mockery. Our children face an uncertain future, where unemployment is the order of the day. The national debt has turned us into slaves, and the gun has become the master. The one-time pearl of Africa is now a laughing stock among nations. All our public assets have been sold, and as if it's not enough to satisfy their appetite, after selling almost all public properties, the government now wants to take people's private land. And in response to this, your elected members of parliament think the best response to this crisis and national shame is to remove age limits. Other than thinking of rescuing Uganda from this mess, they are asking that Uganda sinks even deeper. Well, my message to them is this: you are traitors. You have betrayed your country. You have sold your conscience for cheap. History will judge you very harshly. You should remember that it is your children and your children's children who will inherit this mess that you have created. You should individually reflect on what you have just done. Remember that there will be a time when you must account for this nonsense. Today, most of you who put up your hands to support this resolution, you have put your names on the national wall of shame. You should think about how you want to be remembered, whether as men and women who loved their country or as people who thought only about themselves. You should also remember that you swore an oath to bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda and uphold its constitution. So by passing this resolution, you did exactly the opposite of what you sought to do. Well, the good news is that there is still time for you to withdraw your endorsements before it's too late. And before I forget, I want to thank those few patriotic NRM MPs who rejected the madness of raping the Constitution. You are heroes, and please maintain your stand. Do not bow down to pressure, because your voters are watching you and they will be rewarding you. And to President Museveni, in 1986, you asked for 4 years to reorganize the country and hand over power to a civilian government. We agreed. You personally said that Africa's problem was not the people, but the leaders who overstay in power. In 1990, you asked for 5 more years to be able to enact a durable constitution for the nation, and then go. We agreed. In 1995, you asked for a new mandate under the Constitution. You asked for 5 more years. We agreed. In 2001, you requested the nation to renew your mandate for the last constitutional term. We agreed. In 2005, you moved to remove presidential term limits. You told us that you wanted only 5 years to be able to consolidate your achievements. We agreed. And then in 2011, you came back. You campaigned under the Prosperity for All slogan. You promised that poverty would be history in Uganda after that term, and that you would return to Rwachitula and look after your cows. These were your words. 2016 came, and again you came back, asking for the very, very last term. Yes, in a televised address, you told the nation, and you swore that you would certainly not lead beyond 75 years of age. You told us that after 75, a leader would no longer have the vigor required to run a country. You promised that your last term would be a term pledging to fight and end corruption. Well, Mr. President, you have failed us on all these promises, and our hope was that you would end your term in 2021 and give way for the nation to begin a new chapter. And if you do that, the nation will be grateful for your contribution. Mr. President, Bob Marley said, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. You cannot lie to a whole nation and think each time you will get away with it. As a good reader of history, you should remember that history repeats itself with leaders who thought they were wiser than their generations. Those who thought that populations were gullible and easily manipulated. Usually there comes a time when people are tired. Ugandans are tired. They have been patient with you. They have been respectful and generous with you, knowing that in 2021 a new dispensation will come. Please do not abuse our trust and patience. Come out and clearly disassociate yourself with this madness. Our children want to emulate a leader who does not lie to the country on national TV. Come out and repeat what you said on NTV's Patrick Kamara program when he asked you if you would go beyond 75 years. Not at all. Certainly not. That's what you said, Mr. President. And as the first citizen of Uganda, you should come out and inspire the nation to always be truthful to their word. Because as they say, a man is as good as his word. We cannot continue to have a president whose word we can no longer trust. Enough is enough. Now to you, my fellow Ugandans, especially the younger generation. Here in Uganda, we actually one time laughed at Zimbabwe. We laughed when Mugabe promised to roll them until God calls him. We thought it was a joke. But now, we share his sleeping and falling pictures on social media, and he and his whole country has become a laughing stock. I know you know the things I'm talking about, because most of the problems I have mentioned affect you every day. Poverty, unemployment, uncertainty, exclusion, violence at the hands of the state, and many others. We only have this one chance. No matter your tribe, no matter your religion, no matter your political affiliation or creed, poverty and these terrible conditions in our country do not discriminate. We must make the pledge that we shall not allow this amendment to pass. Article number 1 of our Constitution says all power belongs to the people. We are the people. If this Constitution is amended today, we shall have ourselves and only ourselves to blame for eternity. 20 or even 30 years from now, President Museveni will be asking for more terms in office, and you will be perhaps on your sick bed or dead. And if you're still living, you will be living in these suppressive and oppressive conditions. At that time, you will look back and wish you did something today. My brothers and sisters, we must defend the Constitution before it is too weak to defend us. Article 3, Clause 4 of our Constitution says that all citizens of Uganda shall have the right and the duty at all times to defend the Constitution. It also says that any person who resists amendment of this Constitution commits no offense. I want to call upon all leaders, from religious leaders, cultural leaders, leaders of the business community, members of civil society, leaders of educational institutions, journalists, bloggers, fellow artists, and all of you fellow Ugandans. Please don't keep quiet on this very sensitive matter on the future of our country, Uganda. As it has been said before, and now seems real in our times, that the world is suffering not because of the words of the evil people, but because of the silence of the good people. Speak up, stand up and prevent this rape of our Constitution, or else your children in future will ask you what you did when the nation came to this point. Begin today and exercise your God-given right. Call your member of parliament, or better still, pay them a visit and demand for accountability. Stand up and speak up. Rise up before it's too late, my brothers and sisters. And if you believe the words I'm saying are true, Please translate this into your own language and into all the languages you know. Social media is available. Let us make use of this modern technology to emancipate ourselves, because the time is now. Make use of it now. Spread this word. Make sure everybody gets to know about this. Make sure everybody gets involved, because we are the country. We are the future, and the future is today. Thank you very much. For God and my country.